who does not work shall not eat. Lenin said this a couple of times, although the phrase does predate Lenin. It goes back to an old Bible verse. We have to be really careful how we quote this phrase because Lenin was not talking about letting people starve under socialism. He wasn't talking just necessarily about food. He was talking about products in general. He was talking about the economic laws of capitalism not dissipating overnight just because we've overthrown capitalism, right? And so he says in State and Revolution, this is a defect, says Marx, but it is unavoidable in the first phase of communism. For if we are not to indulge in utopianism, we must not think that having overthrown capitalism, people will at once learn to work for society without any rules of law. Besides, the abolition of capitalism does not immediately create the economic prerequisites for such a change. And in another instance that Lenin used this phrase, he was actually talking about what would decades later become known as the Holodomor, the famine in Ukraine. He was actually talking about the class of society that does not work, the capitalist, not fellow workers. So check it out. He says, "He who does not work, neither shall he eat." How is this to be put into effect? It is clear as daylight that in order to put into effect, we require first a state grain monopoly, the absolute prohibition of all private trade in grain, compulsory delivery of all surplus grain to the state at a fixed price, and so on, other ways in which we need to basically nationalize the industry and distribution of goods. And at the end he says, thirdly, we require a just and proper distribution of bread, controlled by the workers' state, the proletarian state, among all the citizens of the state. A distribution which will permit no privileges and advantages for the rich. That's who doesn't work. That's who doesn't get to eat. I'll drop links in the description to the two texts that I used to pull these quotes from. I'm very open to any criticisms that you all have, and I'm very interested to know whether you agree or disagree with my analysis and understanding of the context in which Lenin used this phrase. Thanks, comrades.